define real.
The movie commences in the bustling city of Singapore. A man named Matt is planning a very special party. He wanted to surprise his girlfriend Jessie by asking her to marry him. The air was filled with excitement and joy. Matt could hardly wait to see Jessie's happy face when he asked the big question. Everything seemed perfect, and he felt ready for this important moment. But just when things were going so well, something terrible happened. A person at the party who was secretly a traitor revealed a bomb. Matt felt his heart drop when he realized this was a dangerous plan that could hurt many people. He quickly spotted the bomber and rushed to stop the disaster from happening. Despite his best efforts, the bomb exploded and the blast was enormous. It destroyed everything and everyone, including Matt. However, something strange occurred. Matt opened his eyes in an unfamiliar room, feeling very confused. His vision was blurry, and before he could understand what was happening, he saw a woman beside him. She gently removed a bracelet from his wrist, and then everything went dark again. When Matt woke up next, he found himself floating in a river. He felt scared and lost, trying to figure out what had gone wrong. He swam to the shore and looked around. To his surprise, he saw some people from the party, but there were also many unfamiliar faces. Among the survivors were Deborah and her boyfriend, Antonio, but Jessie was nowhere in sight. This made Matt's heart ache with worry. Determined to find answers, Matt teamed up with Daniel, who was a historian. They decided to leave Deborah and Antonio behind and explore the strange new world they had entered. As they wandered, Daniel found a mysterious bracelet that looked like the one Matt had before. He used it to open a box filled with food. This made Matt remember his own bracelet and think that there was a deeper connection between them. Their adventure took an even stranger turn when they met a girl named Tomo. She seemed confused and asked if she was dead. Matt, unsure of the answer, told her that no one really knew. He learned that Tomo was from Japan from a long time ago, about 800 years. Daniel was amazed and fascinated by her story. Even more surprising was that Tomo spoke English perfectly, even though she had never learned it. She explained that she picked it up in her dreams, which only added to the mystery. While exploring more, Matt came across a girl who had her food stolen. Feeling sorry for her, he helped return her food. Suddenly, he heard someone shout, "Jessica!" His heart raced as he rushed toward the sound, hoping it might lead him to Jessie. He found a man named Richard, but when Matt asked him about Jessie, Richard became angry. He punched Matt and warned him to forget about Jessie, leaving Matt even more confused. That night, Matt was plagued by terrible nightmares of dead bodies. When he woke up, he found himself next to a man who looked strange and not quite human. Matt, still shaken, asked the man who he was. Instead of answering, the man warned Matt not to listen to the upper bodies, leaving Matt even more confused and afraid. As he tried to understand his situation, Matt was hit by a strange force. The woman he had seen after the explosion appeared again, warning him to stay away from Richard and his men, whom she called traitors. She vanished as quickly as she had come, leaving Matt even more puzzled. Later, Matt met Tomo again in the forest. She asked him if he had seen anything unusual, but he hadn't. They talked about their lives. Tomo shared that she had wanted to become a nun because she loved a man, while Matt talked about his old job as a TV reporter. During their chat, Matt spotted the girl who caused the explosion hiding behind a rock. Anger and sadness overwhelmed him, and he confronted her about the destruction. Tomo stepped in to calm him and spoke kindly to the girl, treating her wounds. The girl explained that she had been promised a beautiful afterlife for helping with the bombing, but now she felt lost and hopeless. Suddenly, Richard's soldiers appeared and surrounded Matt, Tomo, and the others. They quickly overpowered the group, capturing them and making them prisoners of Richard. This made their already complicated situation even worse. During this chaos, Antonio was tragically killed by the soldiers. Some of the survivors were forced to join Richard's army and wear uniforms to show their loyalty. Despite the danger, Matt encouraged his friends to come up with an escape plan. He suggested they sneak onto a ship and leave, but just as they were about to act, the soldiers captured Matt, leaving their group without a leader. In a dark prison cell, Matt found himself next to Simon, an old friend who used to be his cameraman. Seeing Simon brought Matt a bit of comfort, but he was still desperate for answers. Simon revealed something shocking. 6 years had passed since the bombing in Singapore. Matt was stunned. When he asked Simon about Jessie, Simon said the last time he saw her was when they were running from Richard. He added that he had been killed during that chase and didn't know what happened to Jessie afterward. As Matt's friends tried to escape, Richard found out and captured them. Richard was intrigued that Matt did not have a bracelet, and he decided to keep him alive, thinking Matt might know something about the caretakers, mysterious beings that seemed to control this new world. Even though some people wanted Matt dead, Richard chose to imprison him, leaving Matt feeling lonely and isolated. As Matt fought with his memories of being a war reporter, the mysterious woman appeared one last time. She told him to find Jessie and said a man named Sam would be waiting for him by the river. After delivering her message, she disappeared again, and Matt couldn't stop thinking about her words. When Matt said Sam's name out loud, the prison guard took notice. The guard dragged him out of his cell and demanded to know how Matt knew about Sam. In a surprising twist, a little girl appeared, someone Matt had accidentally killed in a car accident long ago. She attacked the guard and urged Matt to escape. With Richard and his soldiers chasing after him, Matt made a daring run toward the river, hoping to find freedom and maybe even Jessie. The story continues with Matt being rescued by Sam's companions, who pull him onto their boat, saving him from his enemies. As they sail away, a mysterious female figure known as the caregiver reappears. She urges Matt to kill Richard, the villain, but Matt refuses, standing firm in his belief that he won't commit murder. Frustrated by his decision, the caregiver disappears in a blinding flash of light, leaving Matt confused and unsettled. Not long after, a rebellion breaks out among the slaves who were once under the cruel rule of Pizarro. Leading the charge is Tomo, a skilled and courageous warrior. She fights fiercely against Richard's soldiers, rallying the slaves to join the battle. Meanwhile, Richard notices Sam's boat approaching and orders his men to prepare for combat. As the fight intensifies, the slaves begin to gain the upper hand through sheer determination, managing to defeat a large portion of Richard's forces. Matt and Sam also step in, helping to secure an important victory. Amidst the chaos, Richard manages to flee the battlefield. Later, as Matt, Sam, and their crew are sailing down the river, Richard suddenly appears holding a hostage. In a shocking act, he shoots Sam once and Matt 3 times. Adding to Matt's pain, Richard reveals that Jessie, the woman Matt loves, has moved on and is now involved with another man in Riverworld. Leaving them stranded in the river, Richard departs with Simon, Tomo, and the rest of their group. During the confrontation, Sam's wife pleads for mercy and stays on the boat, while 2 members of Sam's crew hide in fear. After the attack, Simon and Tomo desperately search for Matt, but are unable to find him in the river. Feeling hopeless, Tomo suggests that they have no choice but to align with Richard in order to survive, despite the fear and danger that this decision brings. Meanwhile, Matt is saved by the caregivers, a group Richard calls demons, as he believes they are responsible for the endless cycle of resurrection. The caregivers place Matt on a special machine that helps him remember everything, including the heartbreaking truth that Jessie has fallen for Richard. Overwhelmed with betrayal, Matt struggles to come to terms with the fact that the woman he loves is now connected to his greatest enemy. After this painful revelation, the caregivers tell Matt that he will only be free if Richard continues his plan to destroy Riverworld. Later, the female caregiver contacts Tomo, instructing her to find and rescue Matt. This leads to a critical moment where Matt confronts Jessie, who is now a prisoner. Jessie tearfully admits that she turned to Richard out of loneliness in Riverworld and asks Matt for forgiveness. Though Matt wishes to focus on their reunion, their time together is cut short when Jessie is suddenly taken away by a mysterious force, leaving Matt heartbroken once again. As the story reaches its climax, Matt and Tomo, guided by the female caregiver, set out on a mission to stop Richard's evil plans. They face several challenges, but remain determined to succeed. Meanwhile, some of Richard's followers, particularly those captured from Sam's group, secretly plot to take control of the power source on Richard's boat. However, Richard quickly uncovers their scheme and forces them to continue toward an unknown destination. Frustration mounts as Matt and Tomo struggle to catch up with Richard's boat, which is far ahead. Just when things seem bleak, the caregiver intervenes, revealing Richard's exact location and introducing a futuristic flying vehicle that could help them. With renewed hope, Matt and Tomo secure a ride on the craft with the assistance of its owners. At the same time, Sam and his team, exhausted and starving after climbing a mountain, spot the flying vehicle in the sky. Filled with hope once more, they manage to board the craft and join the pursuit of Richard's boat from above. Once they locate the boat, They prepare for a final confrontation. Caught off guard, Richard rushes to gather his valuables. Sam discovers that some of Richard's men have been poisoned by snacks secretly provided by his wife, who proudly admits to the deed. In a sudden turn of events, the aircraft carrying Matt and his team catches fire and explodes, leaving everyone on Richard's boat in shock. Amid the confusion, Richard and his remaining followers escape on a smaller boat. Alerted by Tomo, the group on the ground refocuses on chasing Richard, determined to put an end to his destructive plans. The story reaches its peak when the chase leads Matt and his companions to a cave. During the pursuit, one of Richard's soldiers fatally wounds Tomo. In a heartbreaking scene, Matt cradles her in his arms as she dies. In the midst of this emotional moment, Matt discovers a glowing object that causes Richard to reappear. They engage in a fierce battle, and eventually, Matt stabs Richard, believing victory is near. Just then, Jessie appears at the entrance of the cave, pleading with Matt not to kill Richard. Confused and devastated by her actions, Matt questions why she would defend Richard, who threatens to destroy their world. Before he can fully comprehend her betrayal, Richard regains consciousness and activates a device that alters their reality. Suddenly, an aircraft begins to take off, and Richard seizes the moment, boarding the plane with Jessie and leaving Matt behind. The world around them fades to a blinding white, and when the light disappears, Matt finds himself back on the riverbank. To his surprise, Sam arrives in a boat, and Matt is joyfully reunited with his friends. The female caregiver appears once more, informing Matt that his actions have ultimately saved Riverworld. Despite his uncertainty about his place in this strange world, Matt realizes that his choices have had a profound impact. As Matt contemplates everything that has happened, he asks the caregiver where Jessie might be. She admits with uncertainty that she doesn't know. Though filled with both sadness and a sense of hope, Matt returns to his friends, determined to face the unknown challenges of this strange afterlife. The story closes with Matt and the others back in the cold resurrection chamber, suggesting the ongoing cycle of rebirth that defines Riverworld.